All right, look, I haven't eaten all day, so I'm going to finish this. You're going to watch the intro. When we come back, we'll get this shit cracking. From the Vault 319 recording room, this is the Tweakle Podcast. What's up, everybody? I'm Jake Alexander, the voice in the void, the lone wolf, your favorite host with a lisp. Happy Saturday to you, and welcome to another episode of the Tweakle Podcast. Hey, thanks for checking back in with us. If you've been rocking with us for a while and this is your first time, check out any of the older episodes. Pretty sure you're gonna love everything you'll probably see. It's been a good week. It's been really hot. I'm pretty sure it's been like that for a whole lot of you. It's been in the upper 90s, almost 100 around the vault, and it's just been one crazy weather week. If it's not hot, it's just pouring down raining. But we finally got to the weekend. Weather is like it's going to turn. Happy summer to you. Summer has finally actually started. First day of summer was a couple of days ago, and I have a lot of stuff to do this weekend, so we are going to try to cruise through this episode as fast as we can. We have a lot of news to cover, and we're going to talk about Bad Boys and what I thought about it, and there's going to be a special episode. It's either going to be tomorrow or Monday, so make sure you're following right here on the channel so you can see this video. I have an idea for what I think Bad Boys should become, and I think it should involve a handful of other buddy cop or cop movies, and I think it would be a really good way to let Marcus and Mike go off into the sunset, but still keep the franchise itself, keep it going, and a couple other franchises as well. Give them good send-offs, or actually keep them going in some other ways. But we'll talk about that on the next episode. But today we're going to get it started with the news. So there's an old saying that says death comes in threes, and over the past couple of weeks that's been proven true. So we start the news off today by honoring the life and the legacy of Willie Mays, Jerry West, and Donald Sutherland. Now, Willie Mays, for most people, is considered one of the greatest baseball players, if not the greatest baseball player of all time. He could run, he could throw, he could catch, he could hit. Every single thing he did was absolutely amazing. You probably know him best for the over-the-shoulder catch in the 1954 World Series, which he robbed a run, and it's immortalized in a black and white photo. I'm pretty sure if you know anything about baseball, you've seen it. Jerry West is the logo. The man has won championships as a player and as a executive running a team. Every single thing about Jerry West is the NBA, so much so that his cut to the basket became the logo that is still used today for the NBA. And what can you say for Donald Sutherland, a man who is considered by so many in the industry to be a shapeshifter? Every single role he's been in, he's been received very well, all the way back to when the first time I saw him in the movie MASH, based on the book that became the series. He was Hawkeye Pierce. He was the first version I ever saw, and I fell in love with the story then, and the TV series became one of my all-time favorite series afterwards. But he was Hawkeye Pierce first, and he was President Snow in the movie series that we also love as of late. So the fact that all three of them is gone is just another reminder that all of our heroes are dying one after another. Willie Mays was 96, Jerry West was 86, and Donald Sutherland was 88. At the box office, 2024 is continuing to roll, and it's getting a little bit better. It's not as high as the old numbers from 2019. I don't think it'll ever get to that. I think that year is an anomaly, so we're just going to leave that one to itself. But it's starting to pick up. A lot of movies have hit some major milestone numbers over the past couple of weeks. Inside Out was number one last week, and so far it has taken in $379 million worldwide. Bad Boys debuted at number one, but failed to number two ever since the last time we talked. That's Bad Boys Ride or Die. It debuted at number one. Like I said, it went down to number two, already at 223 million worldwide. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was number 5 going into that opening weekend and of Bad Boys, but it rose up to become number 3 and already has taken in $376 million worldwide. Big numbers for really big films. People want to see movies. The stories just have to be engaging. They have to be good. They can't have messages thrown at them. I know we've talked about that before, and that is a thing that we're going to have to address going forward. So like I said, it was a pretty good weekend for the movie industry. New movies coming out this weekend that I probably will get a chance to see and we'll talk about later. The Bike Riders, The Exorcism, and peep this title: Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. We're just going to file that under a movie I will watch and we will talk about at a later date. everything that James Gunn is doing over at DC has been on the hush hush, and thank God for that, because whatever they are doing and keeping it close to the vest, at least they're staying out of trouble. But Marvel can't say the same thing for them. So over the past couple of weeks since the last time we talked, Marvel has now lost its second director for the Blade film. Jan Demain has exited, and like I said, that is the second director, and actually the second director and the fifth writer for a script over the past few years of trying to get this movie done ever since announcing it back in 2019. Now, 2019, 2020, we can wipe that off of Marvel's record for this film not being done. It's not their fault that we had a pandemic, but everything after that, this is on Marvel. So Wesley Snipes, who played Blade in the original trilogy, the trilogy that saved Marvel, most of us will say, and once you research it, you'll know that that's true. He took to Twitter to actually poke fun at Mahershala Ali, who actually picked Jan Demain to do the next film for Blade after Disney had given him reign to pick a director and to pick a writer. So Wesley Snipes took to Twitter to poke fun at all of the troubles that this film has had getting done. And I want to read his quote. He says, "Blade, lordy, lordy, lordy." And this is what he goes on to say. He says, "Folks still looking for the secret sauce. Riding snowmobiles in traffic, kind of rough. Day walkers make it look easy, don't they?" Let's see, of all the movies that I was worried about once the strikes happened with the writers and the actors, the one movie that I was completely worried about was Blade. So everything that happened with the pandemic, everything that happened with the strikes, you kind of just don't put that on Marvel. They don't control those things. Those things happen. So you say everything from 2021 to now is in their account, and they are supposed to be taking care of it. And it looks like they just can't do it. I'm wondering if maybe everything that's going on is behind the scenes, is them trying to move away from ever doing another Blade movie. Yeah, I know that sounds really rough, but let's be for real. David Zaslav at Warner Brothers Discovery, and he's echoed a lot of things that Marvel is actually doing, right? He's actually said that they don't want to make, for Warner Brothers Discovery, that they don't want to make movies just to be making movies. They want to make certain types of movies. And I take that certain type of movies as them saying they don't want to make movies that star women and star people of color. Well, they said it, but we're still getting them at Warner Brothers Discovery. But Marvel I think they kind of took that to heart. And so I got a feeling that they're going to just let these things keep snowballing. And then next thing you know, Mahershala Ali will walk away from the project, and then they'll just push Blade to the back burner. I don't know that for sure. That's just a wild guess. And if whatever happens comes up, I will let you know. Speaking of Warner Brothers Discovery, Robert Gibbs has now been hired as the Chief Communications Officer over at Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, if you don't know what that title means, he'll pretty much be the talking head for everything that goes down. So James Gunn will be doing everything behind the scenes. And when there's somebody that needs to be walked out front to tell you what's going on and to do announcements, that'll be the guy. Now, for Marvel, that was always Kevin Feige. He was doing both. And for a long time, people have said that maybe Kevin Feige just needs to stick to, being the guy out front and let somebody else run behind the picture. Let somebody else run the company behind the scenes and, just be the face, be the guy out there doing all the talking and doing all the announcing. Well, Warner Brothers Discovery, they split that one guy up, and now they have exactly what they want. James Gunn running everything with the movies behind the scenes, and now they have Robert Gibbs out front. Now, if you don't know Robert Gibbs, he was actually under Obama the press secretary. So this is not a new thing. We've had other companies hire people out of the White House and out of politics in order to be chief communications officer and whatnot. So the man knows how to talk in front of people and talk to people and how to sell anything. That was his job under Obama. And if he's being hired over at Warner Brothers Discovery to be the exact same thing, you can pretty much bank on it that he's going to be really, really good at it. Were you a fan of Firefly? I really was. I loved that show. Joss Whedon did just a fantastic show that didn't get as much love as I think it should have gotten. Well, we're going to get more of it, not in film form and not in TV series form, but in comics form. So this won't be the first Firefly comics, but it will be a continuation of the comics that we got in 2023 and a couple of years before that. So the new comic will be called Malcolm Reynolds Year One. It's going to be basically a prequel to what Malcolm was was up to as he becomes the captain of the Firefly and takes off on his own adventures, being the captain of the ship. Now, it sounds really good. It's going to come out in September this year. I can't wait till it comes out. When it does, I will be there first day to get it, to read it, and more than likely, I'll tell you how much I like it. So if you were born in the 80s, you were a fan of Transformers just like I was, and you were probably maybe, just maybe, a fan of the GoBots. Well, if you didn't know, the company that now owns GoBots is the exact same company that owns Transformers. They used to be two separate companies, but no, back in the 90s, the company that owns Transformers, Hasbro, bought everything that has to do with GoBots and merged them together, even using some of their names like Leader One inside of the Transformers universe. Well, both of them came out actually in the same year, with GoBots actually beating Transformers out by a couple of weeks. So they are both the same age, and they're both celebrating their 40th anniversary. And it looks like we're going to get some toys from the GoBots and Transformers at the exact same time to celebrate both of those birthdays. Now, the main one in particular that I'm talking about today is the GoBots line. It's going to be a 3-pack. It's going to cost $75, which is a little bit steep, but there are collectors out there that will want them. But they are going to be leader class figures, probably about 5 to 6 inches tall, and they're going to feature old Transformers toys recolored with GoBot colors. Now, that may seem a little weird, but considering that the GoBots and Transformers have crossed over before, and a couple of the Transformers robots have appeared in GoBots and vice versa, this is nothing new. We've seen this happen before, ever since all the way back in the early 90s, all the way up until now. So when the toys come out, maybe I'll go get one. I'm not going to buy the 3-pack at $75, but GoBots were, they were the lesser of the two cartoon IP properties, but I still had a lot of fun with GoBots. I mean, if you didn't have the money to get Transformers, you bought GoBots and you had fun all the same. If you are a fan of Bleach, this news is going to hit just a little bit, and it may scare you, but I'm going to tell you why it shouldn't scare you at all. So Hiroyuki Nakano will be stepping down as editor-in-chief over at Weekly Shonen Jump, and Yu Naito has been promoted to the new position. So now, if you don't know who Hiroyuki Nakano is, he has been the editor-in-chief at Weekly Shonen Jump, which is where they publish things like Bleach and One Piece and everything for everybody to read. He's been there for 7 years as editor-in-chief. Now, for Bleach fans, what you need to remember is he was one of the loudest voices in support of Tite Kubo and everything that has to do with Bleach, including Beware the Witch, including everything that has to do with the 20th anniversary for Bleach, everything that has to do with 1,000-Year Blood War arc, when a lot of people were very dissenting and saying, maybe we shouldn't invest in publishing Bleach. He was one of the loudest voices saying, no, we should stick by Tite Kubo. So with him going out the door, the biggest supporter of everything Bleach in print is going out the door with him. Now, this is why I say don't get all scared yet. He was the loudest voice, but he wasn't the only voice. I truly believe Bleach is one of those manga series that will stick around for a long time to come. So even though we've hit 20 years, and that is a long time for any manga to run, I think it's going to keep going. I think they'll get to maybe around 27 years before you really start to see Bleach peter off. But I'll keep an eye on it, see what happens as it goes, and I'll let you know if anything else pops up. So if you are a fan of anime and Lord of the Rings, this one thing is actually going to tick both of those boxes actually for you, and you should fall in love with what's coming. So if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, we've never actually seen it in anime form, not animation, just straight Japanese anime form. Well, now you're going to get it. So Lord of the Rings will have an anime coming very soon. It's going to be called Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim. Now, I am really excited about this. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but they have a lot of really good minds and really good hands behind this. So the production company that's going to be doing the animation is Sola Digital Arts or Sola Entertainment, whichever one you want to use. They predominantly do things in CGI, but a lot of what they do is really really, really good. You're going to have voices like Brian Cox, Gaia Wise, Luke Pasqualino, and Miranda Otto. There's going to be a lot of really good voice acting in this too. It's going to be another production company, New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers Pictures. It's due out this year, December 13th, to be released first in the United States and Japan simultaneously. I can't wait for this to come out. An anime version of anything that has to do with Lord of the Rings. For me, that sounds like it's going to be damn good, and I cannot wait to see it. Dragon fans rejoice, the series is back with season 2. The first episode already aired, and the second episode will be airing in a couple of days. Now, I wanted to actually throw what I thought of the first episode, but I decided I will wait. I'm going to watch the second episode. Next episode of the podcast, we will talk about both episodes back to back. I cannot wait to actually talk about this. House of the Dragon was a phenomenal series that first season, and I expect it to be just as good, if not better, this second season. So next episode, don't forget, we will be talking about the first 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. So make sure you're following right here on the podcast, and make sure you tune in to help talk about it with me. As a kid, one of my favorite TV shows was actually Jeopardy. I used to love sitting at the edge of the bed and trying to answer the questions and trying to beat my father. Spoiler alert, I never beat him. The man just knew way more than I would ever know. But if you were a fan of Jeopardy, you obviously know the passing of Alex Trebek, the longtime host of the show a few years ago. Well, he's now going to be memorialized and immortalized on a forever stamp from the United States Post Office. Starting on the 22nd, it will be going, starting on July 22nd, I should say, the stamp will go on sale at your local post office. So if you're anything like me, if you're a Jeopardy fan, or if you are weird like me and you actually do collect stamps, because I do, I just don't have a lot of the ones I really like, but I do collect stamps, so I will be buying me a couple of those, and I'll show it off once I buy one. One thing I love about DC, and it's not just the live action films and it's not just the cartoons, but they really do animation film features very well. It's honestly, to me, it's their bread and butter, and they should do more of it. Well, guess what? They are doing more of it, and we've got trailers to show off. So if you head over to the Instagram page, you will see the trailer for not only Watchmen, which will be a 2-part feature film. Right? Not only will you see the trailer for that, but you will also see the trailer, which we finally got a real good trailer, which is the opening of the what would be the series for Suicide Squad Isekai. Now, we've been talking about that one for almost a year now, and it's finally on its way. But we got the opening footage for it over on the Instagram page. Make sure you get over there, follow there, and watch it. It is a fantastic opening. No lyrics, but the music is very Cowboy Bebop-ish, to me anyway. And that Watchmen trailer, just beautiful to see. So both the fact that DC is not only giving us live action films and TV shows, but they're also pouring right back into their bread and butter with the animation, thumbs up for me. Go James Gunn, go. So with all of these streaming sites floating around, obviously piracy was going to be a part of everyday life. Well, they just had a conviction through the Justice Department of 5 men. Those 5 men: Christopher Dahlman, Douglas Corson, Felipe Garcia, Jared Jaraqui, I hope I pronounced that right, and Peter Huber. They were operating a streaming site called Jetflix. Now, they use computer softwares to scour other pirating sites like Pirate Bay and Torrents, and they actually took their episodes from there, and then they put it on their own site and curated their own site, Jetflix, and was charging $9.99 a month, so people can come and watch whatever they wanted whenever they wanted. Now, according to the documents and according to court filings, they have operated this for quite a while and have amassed millions of dollars in subscriber fees, and they were just convicted of piracy in the court. But all those men are going to go to jail for just a little while. But the bigger thing that we need to realize is that these streaming sites are getting money just like everybody else, right? Whether they are pirates of pirates or illegal streaming sites like Netflix and Vudu and Hulu and all of the others. Piracy is not going anywhere. These men may have been shut down, but I can promise you there are going to be other pirate sites that pop up. Anybody that lived through the late 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, we remember things like LimeWire that never actually went away. We may have stopped using LimeWire as much as we used it before, but it never stopped. There's going to always be pirates. There's going to be more sophisticated ways to get these shows and to get these movies. And if that's your thing, go for it. I am not against it. I am not telling you to actually do it either. So we're going to end our news today talking about Johnathan Majors. Now, over the past week, the first thing went down when he was at the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards. I didn't know there was a such thing, but it was. And where he accepted the Perseverance Award. And he was a little bit choked up about it. He even had tears in his eyes as he thanked everybody for the award and for all the support for everybody ever since he was dismissed from the MCU and he lost his case for harassment and assault in court. But he also landed his first major role ever since all those things happened to him. He will be directed in a movie by Martin Villeneuve, who is the brother of Denis Villeneuve, the director for Dune. The name of the movie will be called Merciless. It will be a psychological horror as he will play a man named John who descends into madness as he tries to unlock what's going on with not only him but all these supernatural things that are going on around him. It sounds like a pretty good movie. We've seen him actually do psychological sci-fi / horror before, and he was actually really good at it. So I can't actually wait to see this movie. That's all of our news today. Don't forget to check over on Instagram at _tweakle_pod. And like I said, you need to go watch those 2 trailers for what's happening over at DC, because both of them look phenomenal. Really. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Bad Boys. 1995. That's 29 years ago, and I remember it well. I was just starting high school. That was the year the first Bad Boys film came out. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but that's how long it's been. Since then and now, we have 4 total movies with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith playing wisecracking, streetwise cops down in Miami, taking on every sort of crime and criminal that you can possibly think of. And it's been a wild ride. So we fast forward to 2024, and what we have now is Bad Boys Ride or Die. And quite honestly, this is probably to me the best film since the first one. Now, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against the other 2 films. They were just as good and just as funny and just as action packed as any of them in the 4. But the one thing that this film does that they had sort of lost along the way was they allowed room for the film to be serious but also funny, almost simultaneously without losing stride. Now, the first film was that. It had a serious tone with jokes interspersed, and they came and went so fast that the movie itself never lost traction. And it was a phenomenal film. Just look how well it did at the box office. And it's a classic of a buddy cop movie, whether you want to call it a buddy cop movie or not. Now, the other 2 films, Bad Boys 2 and Bad Boys for Life, second and third films, they were a bit more comical than they were serious. Again, nothing wrong with that. Look at the 2 men you have starring in the films. And they were still just as good as the first, just not better than. This one is almost as good and maybe just a touch better than the first, because it does exactly what the first does and just does it just a little bit better. It found its old stride. It found the secret sauce that had been missing, at least for me, from the other 2 films. It had a serious tone with jokes interspersed without ever losing traction. It constantly moves. It keeps going. Martin and Will Smith are they are very funny. We all know Martin Lawrence could be the consummate comedian, but his character has morphed into more along the lines of the captain that we lost in the last film. And here comes Will Smith's Mike, and he's become more of the family man that Martin was all this time, now that he has a son and a lot more to lose than just his own life when he's out on the street. Now, this film takes place right after the end of the last film, and in this one, their newly slain captain is linked to these drug cartels, so they have to set out and try to clear his name. And in doing so, they get themselves in trouble and have to be on the run from the same police force and the same type of police forces across the country that they would usually be helping. Simple plot, but well executed. It is a fantastic movie. The best scene, obviously, to anybody who's seen this, and you can ask them what's their favorite scene in the movie. It's watching this young boy that we know is Reggie grow up right before our eyes and become a killing machine. Now, remember, we saw Reggie first in the second film when he shows up to take out Marcus's daughter. The next thing you know, he's marrying Marcus's daughter after coming home from the Marines. And in this one, we get to see him put that Marine training to use. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen the film. If you haven't seen it, just get ready for that scene. Best scene in the film, and quite possibly one of the best scenes in the entire franchise. It's a fantastic movie. I loved every moment of it. It's why I went back and watched it a second time in theaters. If you have not seen Bad Boys Ride or Die, believe me, you need to go and watch this movie. It is fantastic. Now, the next time we talk about Bad Boys, I have an idea of how to keep the Bad Boys franchise going without Martin and without Will Smith. Now, I know that sounds blasphemy. I didn't say that they weren't going to be in the films. They just won't be the focal point cops in it. And I also want to add in other buddy cop movies and other cop movies in general into this one and connect them. And I know the exact story on how to get it done, but we won't talk about that now. We'll talk about that in its own episode. So make sure you're following the channel right here so you can see that as soon as I get it together. As soon as we come back, it'll be time for the last call. That's it, and that's all. It's time for the last call. I want to thank each and every single one of you for tuning in this week. You didn't have to. You could have been doing anything and anywhere else, but you decided to hang with me, and I truly appreciate it. So it's time for us to get out of here, but before we do, let's check our weekend watch list. There's only 2 things on it, and it covers pretty much all of our categories. Our film pick and our nostalgia pick is Spaceballs. Like I told you, it is such a hysterically funny movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You'll love it. I guarantee you. Our animation pick is going to be Redline, anime from 2009. Now, the thing about Redline is it was the last anime made by that particular studio when it was made. Everything in it is hand drawn. It is beautiful to look at, and it is a lot of fun to look at. If you know somebody who's never watched anime and they want to get into something, I suggest you either let them watch Cowboy Bebop or Redline. Redline actually does feel like it feels a lot like Cowboy Bebop, but it's more action packed. It's more brightly colored. Instead of being out in space and them doing bounty hunting, this is actually an outer space car race. I know that sounds completely ridiculous, but it is a lot of fun. If you've never watched it, watch it. If you look hard enough, you can probably find it on YouTube for free. You don't have to pirate it and don't get yourself into trouble. But yeah, no series pick this week. But besides that, take care of yourself. Stay hydrated and stay blessed, and especially stay hydrated. It's been really hot over the past few days, and so get as much water and Pedialyte or Gatorade, whatever you need to stay healthy. And take care of yourself. Take care of everybody around you. Don't do anything to harm yourself. And always remember, you're never alone. If you feel like the darkness is closing in and you need somebody to talk to, pick up the phone, dial or text 988. It's always somebody there. Trust me, I've used the number myself, and I know it'll help you too. It's time for us to go, and I want to thank you all for your thoughts and prayers for our producer, my wife, Nikki Rev. She is feeling very, very much better. She's up and around, and she's having fun, and that's why we have the episode today, because she helped me get it done. I told you on last week's special Father's Day episode that's probably why we didn't have the episode last week, because she wasn't there to keep me on track and to help me get this done. But she's up and about, and she's helping me, and now she's feeling a lot better, and I am so very happy about that. So for our producer, Nikki Rev, and for myself, we will end this episode the same way we end every episode. God bless. I love you, and peace. See you next time.